Happy New Year from London. I know we're a few days into the new year already. We're actually in the second week of school now. We started back into classes last week. And first things first is we started off in biomechanics, so I was quite happy with that. Unfortunately, our biomechanics professor left for different opportunities. So now we're going to have a bunch of guest lectures from various universities in the area, kind of take over what he was supposed to be discussing. But that's okay, because as it turns out, one of them is going to kind of be our go-to for some of the data analysis for my dissertation, which is awesome. Because we've already decided on that, and so it's gonna be amazing, probably. Anyway, the first lecture that we had back was about force plates, and the guest lecturer, Dr. Jason Lake, was actually pretty cool, and he was kind of discussing sport technology, which we've discussed here as well, and he was kind of talking about accelerometers and force plates and all of these different pieces of sport technology where they're trying to take the lab component, so like what we would do for dissertation and research stuff, and make it easily accessible for coaches to use, which is great because it'll give you a lot of information, but he noted that there was a particular piece of equipment that will give you about 150 different variables, and the developer, the guy that was working on it, was like going piece by piece to work on all of these different variables. But the problem with that is if you don't have a question, like we've discussed before, if you don't have that question, then what are you going to do with 150 variables? Literally too many, especially if you don't know what you're asking. So if you get all the answers, then what? So to that end, when we started into the force plate data, it was actually really cool because he was teaching us how to calculate, peak velocity and impulse and momentum, and it's like this really awesome spreadsheet that I have now, which is actually going to be quite useful for my dissertation. But I mean, we boiled it down to like 5 different things, and even that can seem overwhelming, but all of these coaches want these shiny new tools. Take the lab component out of it and the analysis, and just what do these mean? And that'd be great. But I still think far too many coaches are reliant on getting answers to questions they don't even know they have. So be wary when you are looking into getting sport technology. One, do you have a specific question that particular piece will answer? And 2, is it valid? Is it reliable? Is it accurate? Is it precise? Some of the different things that you need to know. Don't just buy it because they've got flashy commercials, or some rep came in and schmoozed you like a used car salesman, and now all of a sudden you've got this piece of equipment that you literally don't know how to use. But that force plate lecture was awesome because it leads directly into pretty much everything that I'm going to be doing for my dissertation. And while my research proposal isn't due yet, we're actually just going to get a jump on it because we did some pilot testing over the holiday break. But I'm going to be doing a little bit of work with potentiation in Olympic lifting, which is quite cool. But I don't want to get into too much detail because obviously I still have to put it all together and do the lit review and read for the next 6 months at least. But I'm quite excited. My lifting coach is actually also my dissertation supervisor, which is pretty cool because he's part of the program. He's not just a lifting coach, he's also a PhD candidate in kinetics and kinematics of weightlifting, which makes it even more cool. So yeah, obviously the biomechanically inclined mind and the weightlifting inclined mine. Why not do a dissertation on it? So that's been pretty awesome. Other than that, I will be getting assessed for the first time since starting school, so graded basically. I have a presentation this coming Monday, so in a few days, over a case study of a retired dancer who is perimenopausal, and she has bone mineral density issues, and it's a 15-minute presentation over stuff that I really wasn't that interested in learning, and honestly still not that interested in learning. However, on this past Monday, we gave it a practice run so our lecturer could give us some feedback on what we need to do, and basically and in an email that I got from her yesterday, she said I was brilliant and I have a great future as a lecturer, perhaps, and that other than a few minor tweaks like adjusting some headings or adding a few more visuals in there, that, you know, my presentation was spot on. It was a little bit long, so I've gone back in and retooled it a little bit to shorten it up a little bit. Some of my slides were a bit redundant. When I was talking about insulin-like growth factor 1, which is very important for bone health, by the way. If you ever want to know, holler and I can tell you all about it. So the presentation is supposed to be 15 minutes. They might give us up to 18 minutes, and mine in the practice run took about 22 minutes. She kind of knows that I have done lectures and presentations before, but I don't know if she remembers it. But basically, you just, I don't know, it's not that hard. If you've got 5 questions, you put that as your header, and then you proceed to answer them with science. Not that hard. But it's actually the first thing that we're getting assessed on, so obviously been kind of worried about that, and still continue to read, even though I'm technically done with putting my presentation together. But obviously, if during the assessment they have any questions, I want to be able to answer them, or be like, hey, didn't read anything on that, so that might be something I could work on. Other than that, the last big piece of news is that I am about 5 days out from my first national level meet here in the UK. It's the English Championships. They run this Saturday and Sunday. Not too far away. I think it's like an hour away. I weigh in Sunday at 7 a.m. and then compete around 9 in a fairly competitive 69 kilo class. And then via Facebook today, in one of those time hop things, on this day, 2 years ago, was the first meet that I came back and competed at after having 2 years off with a partial labral tear to my hip and some spinal issues. I was off for 2 years, and then, you know, was pushed to compete by some really good friends, and I was actually able to come back. And so now it's kind of amazing that now I'm in a new country competing on a national level, which is, it's a national level. So, I mean, got to start somewhere. But this is actually my first national level competition in 5 years, because the last national level competition I did in the US was the American Open 2013, and needless to say, that did not go near as well as I had hoped. Perhaps one of the worst performances of my career. So in 2013, I had some of the best performances and some of the worst performances. And the good thing is I don't care about them now, because I've got a new body, kinda. We put it back together. Got some coaches that have been pretty awesome and pretty tolerant of my ups and downs in my training, and sometimes my mental attitude, which occasionally could use some readjusting. But we are a few days out. I am quite excited. I don't actually have to cut a lot of weight because I'm already fairly light. I'm like 68 at the end of the day, so I've got some room to eat, which is great. But yeah, just gonna focus on the things that I have done for more than a decade and just go out and do what I can do, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm really excited, and I've got some great teammates around me, which is even better. And they're not just great teammates, they're great friends. So hopefully starting the new year off on a good note, back in school, surrounded by good people, working on, dissertation, doing that thing that I came here to do. Planned a few trips here and there. Some friends are going to come visit. So, ready or not, 2018, here we come. Until next time.